Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you a lot of crazy stuff that just happened as Donald Trump is signing executive orders. He's talking about foreign policy. He's talking about deporting the criminals here in the United States. He's talking about the United Nations, saying maybe we're going to pull out. I don't know. I'm going to let you see what he says here. And then Iran. Wow. As the video goes on, guys, he's going to talk about the United Nations, and he's going to talk about the illegal criminals here in the U.S. first. Then he's going to move to Iran, guys, and I'm telling you, you don't want to miss that part of the video. He says some very wow. We're going to talk about it. Check it out.
Thank you very much. We had a busy day. We're dealing with lots of different people on lots of different things. We had some terrific people in today and trying to solve some of the problems that are going on in the country and outside of the country. We're doing very well with respect to other countries really behaving on taking the criminals that they sent into our country, and we're getting them out. These are some of the worst people on earth, and they're getting out and they're being accepted back in their countries, as you've heard, without exception. So a lot of people thought that was not going to happen, but it's happening very full force. Now we're getting some very, very dangerous people out of our country, which is very important. Will, perhaps we'll go through the first one, please.
Yes, sir. So earlier today, before the press came in, you signed a commission appointing Chris Wright to be your next Secretary of Energy. We have another commission prepared for your signature, sir. This is Doug Collins to be Secretary of the VA, Doug Collins of Georgia.
Two very good men. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next up, in light of numerous actions taken by a number of bodies of the United Nations, which exhibit a deep anti-American bias, we have an executive order prepared for your attention that would withdraw the United States from the UN Human Rights Council, would withdraw the United States from the UNRWA, which is a refugee organization, and would also review American involvement in UNESCO, which has also exhibited anti-American bias. More generally, the executive order calls for a review of American involvement and funding in the UN in light of the wild disparities in levels of funding among different countries that, as you've expressed previously, is deeply unfair to the United States.
So I've always felt that the UN has tremendous potential. It's not living up to that potential right now. It really isn't, hasn't for a long time. It has, there are great hopes for it, but it's not being well run, to be honest, and they're not doing the job. A lot of these conflicts that we're working on should be settled, or at least we should have some help in settling them. We never seem to get help. That should be the primary purpose of the UN, the United Nations. And again, it's got great potential, and based on the potential, we'll continue to go along with it, but they got to get their act together.
What would they need to do, sir, to get their act together?
Well, you got to be fair to countries that deserve fairness. They have some countries, as you know, that are outliers, that are very bad, and they're being almost preferred as countries to those that do their job and are doing a good job. And they have to really, they're going to end up losing, a lot of countries are going to end up losing their credibility like other organizations, and then they're going to be nothing. The potential of the United Nations, and not everybody agrees with me on this, the potential of the United Nations is fantastic if properly run. So we'll see what happens.
How much money are you willing to take away from them?
Well, we're taking away a little bit, but we're not looking to take away money. This is so important that we're really, as you know, the United Nations is largely funded by us. But, and it shouldn't be, it should be funded by everybody, but we're disproportionate, as we always seem to be. But it's something that if it ever lived up to the potential, in 10 minutes it would make up the difference. That's the kind of power it could have. Right now it doesn't have that power.
Next, sir, this is a national security presidential memorandum that seeks to impose maximum pressure on the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran Many of these provisions are similar to actions that your administration took during your first administration. The basic idea here is to have every department and agency, or many departments and agencies in your government attempt to sanction and control Iranian activities, particularly relating to the Iranian nuclear program and the Iranian export of terrorism through support of various proxy groups abroad. And the intent here is to give you all of the possible tools to, I'd say, engage with the Iranian government to ensure that going forward they're less of a malign actor on the world stage.
So this is one that I'm torn about. Everybody wants me to sign it. I'll do that. It's very tough on Iran. It's what we had before. We would have never had the problem. You would have never had October 7th. We would have never had the problem had the election gone a different way, which it should have. But this one, I think, more than made up for it. I think we're doing things that it shows that more than made up for it, much more historic. The Iran situation, hopefully, I'm going to sign it, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it very much. We will see whether or not we can arrange or work out a deal with Iran.
And you definitely don't want to miss what he says next, because this gets really interesting. But just a few comments. And also, guys, thanks for watching the video to this point. If you've enjoyed the video so far, leave a like. It helps out the channel. I appreciate that. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And thanks for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber, guys, hit that subscribe button. But talking about the U.S. withdrawing from the UN Human Rights Council and refugee organizations, Trump has always criticized the United Nations for being anti-American and ineffective. So he proposed pulling funding from organizations that don't align with American interests. A lot of people say, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? Well, does the UN serve America's best interests? Or is it a bloated bureaucracy, much like the U.S.? So should the U.S. continue to fund an organization that prioritizes hostile nations over allies? And how does this move impact America's global influence and their diplomatic power? I think that only time is going to be able to tell. But and then he really started things. And again, we're going to get back to Iran here in a minute, guys. But Donald Trump started things by talking about U.S. deporting criminals that other countries sent here. Trump claims that the U.S. is finally deporting these dangerous criminals back to their home countries. And he says that these criminals are being accepted back without exception. And I think that that's actually very significant. He said without exception. So they're taking them all back. And I think that that's because of his tariff policies and his very hardline calls that he's had with these world leaders. But my question is, were these criminals intentionally sent here? And if so, what does that mean for immigration policy? Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments. And how does this reflect on the border crisis and Biden's handling of it? Because, guys, as you all know, that was an absolute train wreck. And really, if you look at Donald Trump versus Biden on foreign policy, on America's standing in the world, because that's 100% what Donald Trump is talking about right here. Trump says the world was at peace when he left office. Is that true? Since Biden took over, conflicts have escalated in Ukraine, Israel, the Middle East. Is this a coincidence, or is it a reflection of who's sitting in that chair right there? Are America's enemies more emboldened, or were they more emboldened under Biden's leadership? And does Trump's second term restore this order, or is the world too far gone? Definitely something that we want to talk about. Okay, guys, again, thanks for liking the video. He's going to talk about Iran. Guys, you don't want to miss this part because he's going to say some very interesting things here.
And everybody can live together, and maybe that's possible, and maybe it's not possible. So I'm signing this, and I'm unhappy to do it, but I really have not so much choice because we have to be strong and firm, and I hope that it's not going to have to be used in any great measure at all. It'd be great if we could have a Middle East and maybe a world at total peace. Right now, you don't have that. When I left, you had peace all over the world, and now you have the world is blowing up. As you know, Bibi is coming in to see me later. Others are coming in to see me. We'll see what we can do. But I'm signing this, and hopefully it will be a document which won't be very important, will hardly have to be used.
So what kind of deal would you be prepared to
Well,
make
we're going to
with
see. I mean, we're going to see. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. With me, it's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. We don't want to be tough on Iran. We don't want to be tough on anybody, but they just can't have a nuclear weapon.
Mr. President, are you going to engage in conversations with your counterpart in Iran?
I would.
Do you want to block the sale of Iranian oil to other nations?
Well, we have the right to do that, and that's what I did before. And they had no money. They wouldn't have had the money for Hamas or Hezbollah or anybody else. It could have been solved, this thing. It just, if things went the way they should have, this would have been over long ago. But it's not over.
How close do you think Iran is to developing a nuclear weapon?
I think they're close. I think they're close. They're too close. But again, you could go back 4 years. I would have said they would have had it during this intervening period. But they're pretty close, Peter.
And why is Iran happy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. So I'm signing this, and it's a very powerful document, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it.
Mr. President, if the Prime Minister today were to ask your help in striking at Iran's nuclear facilities to prevent the kind of progress towards a nuclear weapon, would you give him the green light? Would it, either to do it himself or for the U.S. to participate with him?
I don't know that that's what he's going to be asking for. I have no idea that it is. You're telling me. We're going to have a pretty long meeting. We're going to be discussing a lot of things, not only that, but a lot of things. And I'll let you know if the time comes to let you know. But right now, that's not something that I can discuss.
Mr. President, when you said if they do it, they get obliterated. Just to be clear, you're talking about if Iran made an attempt on your life.
Yeah, that would be called total obliteration. And I can't imagine they do that. It should have been stated by Biden, but he didn't state it because he had no clue, as you know, as everybody knows.
What is your vision actually for relationship
Do you have
with
anything
Iran?
else?
No, that's all we have.
My vision for
For a
what?
relationship with Iran, and what do you?
I'd love to have a good relationship with everybody. They can't have a nuclear weapon. That was the only thing that was very important. They can't have a nuclear weapon. Beyond that, it would be very tough if they insist on doing that. They have some of their leadership, I can tell you right now, and maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but there are many people at the top ranks of Iran that do not want to have a nuclear weapon just for that very reason.
Whoa, guys, did you hear Trump's chilling warning to Iran? He used those words, total obliteration. Total obliteration. What exactly does Trump mean by that? If you have any ideas, let me know what you think. But Trump says that he's left instructions in case of an assassination attempt. What are those instructions? What could they be? Why didn't Biden make a similar statement? He's saying that Biden should have said this. Biden should have said that. Trump said that Biden's lack of action, and he even said his lack of intelligence was dangerous. Could this warning that Trump is saying in this video right here, could it actually deter Iran? Do y'all think it's going to deter Iran? Or do you think it will escalate tensions? Let me know what you think, guys. And also, hey, thanks for watching the video all to the end. You're a real legend. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, but just wanted to stop and say thank you. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate y'all so much. Let's talk about Iran's nuclear ambitions and the Middle East stability as a whole. Trump reaffirmed his position in this video. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Period. End of story. That's what it boils down to. So how close is Iran to actually developing nuclear weapons? I feel like we've been talking about this for a very long time. Are we on the brink of a major conflict? Because if they were very close and if they were on the verge of developing a nuclear weapon, you know they're not going to stop. Now, Trump believes that his past policies would have prevented today's tensions. Does history support that? Let me know what you think. How did Biden's policies change the situation in Iran? I mean, is America weaker now? And guys, I would argue it is. I would say that America is weaker today than it was 4 years ago under Biden because Biden didn't do anything over the last 4 years. But I'm curious to know what you think. Anyway, I have some questions for you guys. And so definitely hit me up in the comments, guys, because I love to read every single one of the comments that y'all leave. So be sure to hit me up in the comments. Do you think that Trump's warning is going to prevent Iran from taking action? Again, or does it escalate tensions? Let me know what you think, guys. Very important. Is this going to be enough to stop Iran from moving forward, or do you think it's going to take more, or do you think that the more we escalate, the more they're going to escalate? Let me know this too. Should the U.S. cut funding to United Nations? Because he's already stated that. He's already said that. Do you think that we should just pull out 100% and say, nope, we're done with the United Nations. We're not funding you anymore. We are out. Of course, the United Nations was founded after the World Wars, right? And until this point, the United Nations has prevented another world war. But have they become too bloated and bureaucratic? Should the U.S. cut funding and say, nope, and try to revamp the United Nations? Trump said there's a lot of potential there. So how can we tap into that potential? Okay, let me know about this, guys. Put an answer to this. Are Trump's policies the keys to restoring order? Or are these global conflicts inevitable? Is this something that's going to happen regardless of what America does? Or do you think people like Donald Trump can make policies that will restore order on a larger level, global level? And then finally, let me know what you think about this. What do you think Biden should do, or what do you think Biden should have done differently to have strengthened America's position on the world stage? Was it possible for Biden to have strengthened our position and handed Trump a stronger America? And if he would have, would he or Kamala Harris, would they have won the election if they would have done that? Comment below with your thoughts, guys. Do you agree with Donald Trump's approach? Hey, guys, I appreciate, again, everybody for watching this video. Guys, also, if you're not a member of the channel, consider becoming a member, guys. Support the channel all the way. We are trying to get the news out to the world from a Christian conservative perspective. If you align with that mission, if you align with that idea, guys, that we need to return to what made America, the ideals that made America great in the first place, and we're going to make America great again. All right, guys. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you again later with another video. Take it easy. Peace.